Hello, this is Oscar from Rugby 256, and the World Cup final is upon us. And here with me I have Coach Tolbert Onyango of the Uganda Sevens. I want to get his take upon the final. Tolbert, so tell us, South Africa, England, people expected this final, some didn't, especially the All Blacks fans, but it's upon us, and so which side do you take?
Yeah, so when you have a look at the semis, they are different. In one, England outplayed New Zealand, and it was a fast-paced game, a lot of action. The other one was Wales against South Africa, which was a brutal dogfight, and it was a win that was properly dragged out by South Africa. So my heart is with South Africa, but judging from what we've seen in the past couple of weeks, I'm seeing England taking it by 3 points.
So you're saying by what you've seen, what is that you've seen? What is it? The technique? Is it the team gelling? What is it? What is it about England that gives them the 3-point edge?
Yeah, first of all, it's the way they have played out the whole World Cup. Just from the first game, all through the pool stages, they didn't put a foot wrong. And one would think by the time you're getting to semis that they'd be a bit tired, but they came out and obliterated the mighty All Blacks. And that really counts for something. It should make the rest of the world, stand up and check what is it that's going on in the England camp. On the other side, on our side, South Africa, we've also been brutal in our own way. People are not a bit happy with all the box kicks and from the scrum off, even though that seems to be the game plan. And it seems it's winning us games. So they're going to be two contrasting styles. One, a team that wants to play with the ball. The other one is a team that doesn't like to play with the ball and gives the ball to opposition so that they suffocate them and hopefully they make a mistake and then we get a penalty out of it. So with both styles, one would think that England would get a win.
So do you think South Africa will stick to its aerial ball that we saw in the semis against Wales? I mean, 60% was aerial ball.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But then again, also the England back three, do you think they'll be able to handle the pressure under the high ball and play with it going forward?
Yeah, so, you being a World Cup final, people want to sort of minimize the mistakes. The fewer mistakes that you have as a team, the better chances for the team to win it. But man, I would wish to see another style of rugby in the World Cup. But it's a World Cup final, and there are very few cases historically where there's been big margins and change of game plans up to the final. So it's worked for South Africa. It's got them to the final. I don't see much of a change, but it'd be good to see one. So to the centres, I think England centres, they've shown they've got what it takes, and they've grinded out wins. They've been very direct with their play. If you watch a game against the All Blacks, there was quite some ball carrying by the centre. So there's going to be quite a lot of work for the South African centres.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tolly.
Yeah.
And best of luck to England.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers. Thank you.
Pollard is South Africa's all-time point scorer at World Cups, and you can put another 3 on the score sheet for the number 10, de Klerk.
So right now I'm here with Michael Okorat, who doubles up as the Sevens captain and Hima Cement Heathens captain. So Michael, tell us, the World Cup final is upon us, and who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for England because England is a team that has gone from strength to strength over the years. And if you look at their game against New Zealand, you really see this is a team that has come to win the championship and come to win the World Cup. So I'll definitely root for them, and I hope they win.
The South Africa has, of the record, it has won the World Cup every 12 years, and this is their 12th year. So do you think that good luck charm will work for them?
The way I see it's going to be an interesting final, and whoever wants it most will win it. But however, I'm rooting for England because I've seen how England has played this whole campaign in the World Cup, and I definitely believe they're a much better side to come and win this World Cup. So it doesn't matter whether South Africa has also played better, but I think England has a better strategy of how they're going to win this World Cup.
Regards England, what do you think is their X factor going into the final, or rather, what's that one thing they did, especially when they went over the All Blacks last Saturday in the semi-final?
What I would say is they had a very good defense. They had a rush defense, and they didn't allow New Zealand to play the ball at any one time. Their forwards are very mobile. They are everywhere. If you saw how Maro played, Utoji, you would really see this is a team that has come to do business and mean business. They had a good kicking game as well, and you'd see from how the score went, the day went to the boot. So the boot was good from Ford, and you could see definitely they came out victors.
Yeah, now looking at the second row where you have Itoji and Cotton Laws versus Estabeth and his other lock partner. I mean, these two seem to have the same thing going, especially in the lineouts. It's a set piece and it's a point of contention for any team moving forward. What do you have to say about that?
I think Etoji has done very well. You could see against New Zealand he was really manning up that lineup set piece, and he managed to actually win, I think, 2 balls of New Zealand. So I'm sure he's up for this, and he definitely knows at the back of his mind he has to bring out his A game just like the way he played against New Zealand, and definitely because he knows they have to take this World Cup.
So what do you think is going to be the score? What's your prediction?
It's going to be a high-scoring game because both teams are quite good, and they all have that instinct that shows that they really want to score. I think the score will be about 20-18.
Okay, this is Michael Okerech again. Thank you very much for having us host you, and that's it. Okay, now here with Mutaka, the chairman of the mighty Chadondo Rugby Club. So, Mutax, it so happens that the World Cup final is against us. It's as if expected but not expected. So it is South Africa versus England. So what is your take, and who do you go for? Who are you rooting for?
I think both teams that are in the final deserve to be in the final. It's going to be a very cagey affair, like all finals. I think England come in as favourites. But for the analysts, the Boks should win it. They have history going for them in terms of World Cups against England. England have beaten Australia and New Zealand. Can they add South Africa to the Northern Hemisphere? That will be a very tough one. South Africa are playing much more conservative. They lost the last time they played England to a very controversial ref call. So they'll be hurting from that. I think for me, being a final, close to call, but I'd say South Africa.
Yeah, now looking at your go-forward ball, I mean, South Africa is known to use its pack. And now when you look at England, the Itoje and Cotinillos seem to be running the show right now. And looking at Estabeth and his lock partner, they do not seem to be at the same tempo. What do you think, especially when it comes to the lineouts going forward as a set piece?
South Africa have only lost one lineout, and that was against Wales this whole tournament. So I think it's because people have been looking at them parallel. But if you go and look back at the games they've played, South Africa have had a very tough game against Japan, a very tough one against Wales, and now they have England. England, their tough game was Argentina, but then 20 minutes in, Argentina got a red card, right? So they have not been really tested, okay? If you look at the game against Australia, again, the locks didn't dominate. It's the backs that caused chaos, and Australia was a bit disheveled. If you look at New Zealand, their lock partnership, Retallick coming back from injury, and aging Whitelock, all right? And then the back three of New Zealand were very light, all right? Now, if you look at the back three of South Africa, plus the lock partnership, and a tight 5, I mean, it will be a very different contest, all right? And I don't think England can have 2 back-to-back fantastic games. They've not played poorly this whole tournament. I suspect their poor game is the final.
So, I'm here with Brian Asaba, the vice captain of the 15th national team and the captain at the Betway Rugby Clubs Club. So, Brian, the rugby final is upon us. It was a random final that came up. Everyone expected New Zealand, South Africa, but here we are with England. So, what's your take and who are you rooting for in the final?
Yeah, that's without a doubt. I'm rooting for South Africa. I like how you've called it random. I mean, none of us expected even South Africa to win the finals. Most of us expected New Zealand, Ireland, Wales, and the likes to be in the final. But look, here we have South Africa playing against England, and yes, like you've asked me, I'm rooting for South Africa.
He is deadly! We've got our first try of the night. What about the looping pass through traffic and win the...
I'm here with Brian Odong, former national team captain and also known as Captain Fantastic. So Brian, the rugby final is upon us and it's England versus South Africa. Much not expected final, but yet it is the one we are going to have. What is your take on who are you rooting for?
Going into the final, of course, I have to root for my country, the country I support. Not my country, sorry, I'm Ugandan. But the country I support, outside of Uganda, that's England, of course. I know it's going to be an interesting game. It's a final, probably going to be a close game. But we expect that, I mean, both teams have trained, both teams are prepared. They play different brands of rugby, but can also mix and match here and there. SA have some fast wingers, and when they take their backline to play, they can really play some good stuff. So, and their forwards, of course, are big, strong, which we expect England to be prepared for.
South Africa punch their ticket. They are off to the biggest game in rugby. They are World Cup finalists. Next week, it'll be the Springboks v England.